This is Dan Tortora of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Happy to be here with Kevin McCarthy, who is here with me as Program Director of Parisi Speed School here in CNY Family Sports Center in Baldwinsville, New York on Jones Road. And first and foremost, Kevin, it's a pleasure to have you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Now, first and foremost, Bill Parisi, who created Parisi Speed School, let's go into his story a little bit and what he truly wanted to accomplish by having something like this.
Right. So Bill went to Iona College. He was a two-time NCAA Division I All-American athlete, and he qualified for the Olympic trials in the javelin throw. Growing up, I think he had a story where he was an undersized athlete, but he had a lot of heart and he was diligent about his work ethic. After college, he worked with the New York Giants and he trained Phil Simms, Super Bowl MVP. And after that, he set out with a mission. He had $500. He bought a van for $500 in '92. He opened his first small facility. I think it was about 3,000 square feet in '93. And fast forward to now, his program has become nationwide, and it's also on other continents. They have one in Barcelona, Spain.
Okay.
I think there are about 80 franchises in over 35 states now. So he started with a $500 van, and now he's nationwide.
When you look at a story like that, the undersized athlete, which I think I can attest to in my life, I was told that all the way through that I wasn't big enough. I played basketball. So I looked at people like Muggsy Bogues and David Stoudemire, who weren't the tall athletes, the Spud Webbs of the world, and to say, okay, if I'm not going to have the height, which is not something I can train to have,
right,
how am I going to handle this? So, I can respect and appreciate it because I played basketball all the way up to switching to broadcasting.
Right.
And you had talked about it a little bit yourself that, you weren't always regarded as the biggest athlete, but you fought your way to get to a place of prominence where you were happy with your work.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a short 5'10", and I wasn't always as big. I weighed maybe 145 pounds going into college. So I didn't train with any system like this, and it wasn't really available for us in this area growing up.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of athletes in middle school and high school that get left behind. You're always going to have your natural athletes that become the superstars in high school.
Yeah.
What about the kids that aren't big, that aren't fastest naturally? So what are they going to do? They're going to fall behind. They're going to drop out of sports. And we really want to encourage those athletes. What we're about here is we want to give them the confidence and the techniques and mechanics on how to increase their speed and agility, and we can really keep them up to speed with all of the stuff that they need, the complete package, so they don't have to worry about being the biggest and the fastest and the strongest naturally.
When you look at, like you said, building that, I think it goes into the mission statement, which I'd like you to share here with Parisi Speed School, and we're sitting right on top of it right now. So what is it about this mission statement that you can say has really helped kids, not just on the field or on the court, but off of it as well? Because the mission statement, I know, is about more than just trying to have an agile, fast athlete.
Right, so I'll start with our actual mission statement, which is, as the industry leader in sports performance enhancement, we continue to deliver a positive training experience that improves speed of movement and strength and character, regardless of ability or economic status. And I think, the second half of that is very important, because you want to not only improve an athlete in terms of the athleticism, their strength, their speed is very important for their sport.
Right.
But you also want to focus on their character, because you get a lot of guys who are great at their sport, and then they go off to college and they make a knucklehead decision, and that's it for them. And what we want to do here is we want to build the complete package. We want them to be complete to compete. We want them to be mature. We want them to make the right moral decisions on and off the field. We really want to push sportsmanship here.
Regardless of economic status as a part of that mission statement, what can you say about the affordability of a program like Parisi Speed School here in Baldwinsville?
It's very affordable. What we do is we always try to cater to the needs of our athletes in every demographic. So what we're doing is we do a lot of community outreach. We do a lot of programs we give a free class and a free evaluation to help people get their foot in the door. And once they do, we do everything in our power to make this available to the entire community.
Looking forward and looking at, like you said, the national approach of it, bringing it to Baldwinsville, you were talking about, you didn't really have something like this growing up. I didn't have something like this growing up. To have it in Baldwinsville, to have it in Central New York, here at the CNY Family Sports Center, how important is it to have it here? Because I think, I know in my line of work that Central New York sometimes goes unnoticed with the ability of its athletes, the character of its athletes, that there are some really good homegrown talent here. So how does having Parisi Speed School in Baldwinsville help to kind of grow and mature that talent?
It's great for our community. It's great for Syracuse. I think that, it really gives us a leg up that people need to take advantage of. We have thousands of young athletes here every single weekend coming in and out. And we're trying to get as much exposure as possible, really, to let everyone know in the community, like, hey, we're here to help you, we're ready to take that next step forward. We want to move, upstate New York up in those ranks. We want people to recognize us nationally.
As far as who can be involved, when you look at the ages, does it matter? I know that there's different ranges, but to let people know, if you have young kids who don't know what they want to do, I know parents that have young kids that have a ton of energy that they're saying, I need to just find a place for them to use it in a positive way. So what are the ages? What are the classes like? How do we kind of break it down and make it available to as many people as we can?
Right, so our Parisi youth training system is broken down into a couple different groups. We have our Jump Start, and that's 7 to 12. So, for those kids, they may not know exactly what sport they're going to do for the rest of their life, but at the same time, we'll get them in, we'll get them active, and we focus on improving their mechanics, their running mechanics. We use a lot of body weight stuff in terms of strength building. And then we also, we get their foot in the door in terms of their attention span. We're going to be doing a lot of fun activities that are going to be incorporating all of the mechanics, the mechanical drills and the techniques that we emphasize. But at the same time, we're going to be playing a lot of games, things that are fun, that will hold their attention, that will keep them wanting to come back and stay active. After that, we have our total performance group. And that's ages 13 to 18. So after that, though most of those athletes are set on a sport by that age. You've hit modified junior varsity level, and those athletes, we step up a little bit more in terms of their mental toughness, so they know what sport they want to do. We're going to be building strength using weights. We do weight training. We do a lot of injury prevention, which is huge these days. Huge.
Yeah.
You see a lot of ACL, MCL injuries in younger kids, and we're really here to try to prevent that.
When you look at what is asked of the person that's going to be in the Parisi Speed School here in Baldwinsville, how often do they come? How does the class kind of work? I know you talked about different classes, but how do you go about this, and what do parents need to know and families need to know about the time that's going to be asked of them?
Right, so classes are an hour long, and each class is broken up into roughly 4 quarters. So the first quarter is our active dynamic warm-up, and that's really the cornerstone to Parisi Speed School. That's one of the things that makes us unique. What we're doing in our active dynamic warm-up, our ADW as we call it, we're doing a lot of functional movement and a lot of fast-paced exercises that are going to fire up your central nervous system. It's going to activate your muscles, and it's really going to focus on the injury prevention again. It's traditional warm-ups consist of static stretching, where you're reaching down and you're touching your toes for 30 seconds. But when in a football game or a soccer game or a hockey game, do you see a kid stand on the field and reach down and touch their toes for 30 seconds? Right. So what we're doing is a really progressive method of warming these athletes up, firing up those secondary muscles that are not normally worked up before a game, and that's how you get those injuries.
How often do they have? I know you said it's a 1 hour.
So yeah, it's a 1 hour class. So the active dynamic warm up, and then we're going to do a mechanical drill.
Okay.
Where it's going to be stationary. It's going to be against a wall or a rail. We're going to be practicing the movements that they're going to be putting into play live during their sport, during the activities that we're going to do. After that, we do an application, and in the application, we're going to be doing a game or a challenge.
Okay.
Where we want to see the athletes utilize the tools we just gave them in their mechanical drill. So if we're working on linear speed and we're doing acceleration, we're going to ask them to do the mechanical drill, and then we're going to ask them to do an application where they're performing the mechanical drill in a 10 to 15 yard span. Finally, we'll end with a game or a fun competition where, again, you're using the same thing you did in the mechanical drill, but we're putting it into play in a competitive environment.
And I know you said that this is broken into quarters over an hour. How often are the kids coming in?
So we recommend that kids come in at least 2 to 3 times a week to see maximum results. I mean, it's hard to come in once a week. You teach a kid a lot, it's a lot. And then have them not come in for another 10 days. That's tough. We ask that parents commit to at least twice a week.
And as you move forward and looking at this and growing the program, growing what you're doing here in Baldwinsville, what should parents know and what should kids know and athletes know in our community about why this? Because that's always the question of, well, they get enough training in school, or they don't need this, or I don't have the time, or I can't drop them off. What kind of jumps over the hurdles that are put up in the community of not having time, or how much does it cost, or different things? Why Parisi?
Well, I mean, Parisi, we're offering classes every single day. And, we usually run the same class 2 to 3 times a day. So in terms of availability, our flexibility in hours is there. What sets us apart, like I said, this is for all those kids out there who may not be the biggest and the fastest and the strongest naturally. We also want to bring in a lot of kids who may not have the best confidence. I didn't have the best confidence as a high school athlete, and I feel like if I had more, I probably could have done more with my sports career.
I'm right there with you.
And that's really what we focus on here. It's not just about the athletic performance. That is a huge aspect of it, but we also really like to focus on self-confidence, because once a kid has the self-confidence to do something here, they can take it not just to their sport, not just to their school, but they're gonna apply that to every facet of life.
That coming from Kevin McCarthy of Parisi Speed School here in CNY Family Sports Center in Baldwinsville, New York on Jones Road, and of course myself, Dan Tortora. So make sure you sign up, bring your families over here, and give an opportunity to Kevin McCarthy to help train them, not just in building their ability on the field, on the court, wherever they're going to play, but in life itself and building character, because it is about the confidence, it is about the character, and it is about building up this Central New York community. Kevin, thank you for doing so.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.